What is Gemini? Gemini is an air sign, mental, thinking, ideas. Gemini is also a masculine sign, so they direct their energy outward. And they're outgoing, but not as loud and aggressive as fire signs. Gemini is also a mutable sign. Mutable signs want to adapt to their environment, absorb different perspectives, learn what they can, and then impart that knowledge to others. Because of this, mutable signs are very flexible, adaptable, and go with the flow. Mutable signs constantly want to understand things. They want to understand people, situations, why things are happening, why things work the way they work. But sometimes they can find themselves changing their belief and ideas one day to the next. So one day they're believing one thing, the next day they're believing something else. People are confused. What do you really believe, right? So whereas a Taurus is very loyal, fixed signs, not just Taurus, fixed signs are very loyal and all or nothing with their opinions. Mutable signs, very adaptable, go with the flow. It's always a different thing every day. Mutable signs also love to teach. And since Gemini is an air sign, they usually focus that desire of sharing knowledge in various forms of communication, such as writing, speaking, acting, reading, what have you. They adore words, adore them, the sounds of words, the use of words, but most importantly, the definition of words. So, just like Aries and Taurus, Gemini is in the survival stage of astrology. The first stage, there are three stages: survival, social, and spiritual. Survival signs, their focus is how do I relate to myself? How can I survive, right? And then the next stage is social. Those signs think, how do I relate to others? A relationship, social. And then the spiritual stage, those signs think to themselves, how do I relate to the world? Spiritual. Got it? So Gemini is the air sign of the survival stage. So there's one element for each stage. So Aries is the fire, Taurus is the earth, and Gemini is the air, and Cancer next month is the water. So one element for all survival, okay? So Gemini is the air sign of the survival stage. For them to convey their self-ideas, thoughts, and knowledge in an articulate, communicative manner is literally a matter of survival. If Geminis can't communicate their ideas, understand how the world works, assimilate into their environment to gain important knowledge and share that information with others, they feel like they could die. For that reason, facts and grammar are very important to a Gemini. Words are Gemini's most important tool for survival. If they don't present the correct words or have all the facts in order, they feel inadequate. Geminis like to be in the know. And so Geminis are the geeks of our society. They're the schmoozers also and the salesmen too. Geminis are the publicists, the writers, the speech teachers, and the English teachers of our world. So it's pretty clear now that we know that Geminis love knowledge, right? They love to learn. But Geminis don't really like to dive in too deep to one subject. Their style is more that they like to learn a little bit about a lot of things so they can come off wise and witty no matter who they're dealing with, who they're talking with. They want to come off like they are in the know with everyone. So, because of this, Geminis are really good at lying. Yes, they are the liars of the zodiac. Now, it's not that Geminis want to lie. It's not like their intention is, I'm going to lie today. No, no, no. It's more that they want to present themselves in the best light. They want to kind of be shiny and perfect, right, in every way that they can. And so they want people to buy what they're selling. So in order to do this, sometimes they need to kind of fib or just present that surface kind of front instead of really diving into the honest, vulnerable, authentic truth of themselves. And so their quick, adaptable, and changeable nature really does help them do this because they can be with one crowd and be kind of bantering and chatting it up and then go over to the next crowd, totally different type of crowd, do the same thing. And in that, banter, they may not be fully telling the truth, but you're totally buying what they're selling. Another thing they do when they're speaking to a crowd or communicating with people at a party, what have you, they love to use surface level humor to get people on their side because they never want to get too heavy or too deep. If they get too deep, then that perfect presentable front is no longer maintained. And then Geminis come off human, vulnerable, or unprofessional. And they might have to admit that they don't have all the knowledge that they pretended to have. This is very scary for a Gemini because of their survival mentality. And this is where the twins come into play. Yes, Gemini is the sign of the twins. So, Geminis have two sides to their personality. Now, it's important to note that all air signs have two sides to their personality. Air signs like to think about things before they take action, they like to see both sides, weigh things out. And so, because of that, all the air signs, Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini, have two sides. But because Gemini is in the survival stage and they're not really thinking about other people, their focus is on themselves and surviving. Their two sides are very, very extreme, and that's why they're known as the sign of the twins. So, what are these twins? Twin one is their logical mind, and twin two is their emotional heart. Unfortunately, they can only be one twin at a time. So, their mind is the side that's their work and public front, and because they can be 100% logical, 100% mentally focused, they can completely take out the emotion to any situation and be 100% logical. So sometimes they might come off like they just don't care. That's really not the case. It's more that they're just trying to be 100% logical and they're being the mind, right? The other twin is their heart. And their heart is their social kind of personal, private side. And this is more of their real side, I would say, where they don't have to always have all the knowledge. They can be a little bit more vulnerable. But this side usually doesn't last very long. This is why Geminis are known as the quick change artists. Before you know it, they're someone else. They are very tricky, those Geminis. The negatives of Gemini. A lot of people complain that they're very rigid with facts. They can't open their minds to meaning. It has to be the textbook version of things. They can't break the rules, so to speak, and have to be snobby about grammar, facts, and knowledge. So you could be telling a fabulous story to a Gemini, but they aren't hearing you and they're not heart connected to your story because a couple of reasons. One, they're too busy correcting your grammar. Two, they're too busy kind of focusing on how they're presenting themselves to you or others in the room because they have to be, shiny and perfect. Or three, they're making sure your facts are correct, right? You know what I'm talking about. So this can be a disadvantage for a Gemini because they lose that intimacy that true connection can bring with another person because they're too busy with all the surface stuff that need to be okay, right? And their need to keep up this front or this facade can really create two-faced behavior, lies, fakeness, major indecision, and at worst, living a double life, lying to the self. The good is that they can sell anything. I could give a Gemini a box of toilet paper, and they'd probably be selling truckloads of that toilet paper within 24 hours. Yes, they're really good at selling things, and they may be the smartest and wisest of the zodiac. They're excellent teachers, great editors, and they're fabulous with foreign languages. Bring a Gemini on your next international vacation, and they will learn the language within minutes. I bet you anything. Any quick word games or spelling bees in your future plans? I don't have any spelling bees in my future plans, but you might. Well, bring a Gemini. They're going to win the spelling bee. And they're probably hosting your next game night anyway. So when the Aries is cracking jokes and watching the football game in one quarter of the party, the Taurus is cooking the steak and talking about gambling in the other. What's the Gemini doing? Well, they are probably having a fabulous conversation over wine, selling their latest product, and getting Trivia Pursuit ready to go. In order to understand each sign, you have to understand the opposite sign. The opposite sign of Gemini is Sagittarius, my sign. Both signs are mutable energy, adaptable, go with the flow, flexible. But where Gemini is air, Sagittarius is fire. And where Gemini is the survival stage of astrology, Sagittarius is the spiritual stage of astrology. So, where Gemini is coasting on the surface and alphabetizing their encyclopedias, Sagittarius is traveling, meditating on the mountaintop, and getting ready to write the latest song. For Gemini, it's about the mental, logical, self ideas in order to survive. And for Sagittarius, it's about the soulful, impulsive, bigger picture wisdom in order to contemplate what life is. Geminis present themselves with poise and professionalism, keeping to the surface to sell their ideas to the local community, where Sagittarius comes up brash, even messy and clumsy at times, so they can passionately express the true meaning of the universe to break free of worldly limitations and to get to the core honest truth beyond the local community, to the world. The Gemini needs the Sagittarius, and the Sagittarius needs the Gemini. The Sagittarius needs that filter and professional banter that Gemini can really teach them. And Gemini needs Sagittarius to get them out of their heads and into their hearts so they can experience learning versus being stuck in a textbook and not heart connected. Thank you so much for watching my third video in my sun sign video series. I will have videos for you every month, so please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And tell all your friends, especially your favorite Gemini pal. And don't forget to come over to my website, natalbirthchart.com. It's right below. Get your reading today. It's an amazing experience to see what's going on behind the surface for you, your husband, maybe your father, maybe your mother, brother, or maybe your biggest enemy, to see what's really going on. Goodbye, everyone.